A very good morning to one and all. On behalf of the Department of Sociology and CSIM, Center for Social Initiative and Management, I would like to welcome each and every one of you who have joined us today for this webinar. And a very special and hearty welcome to our honorable chief guest for today, Dr. S. Balaji, former IFS officer. Second session chaired by Dr. S. Balaji, who will be discussing on COVID-19, pandemic and environmental challenges ahead. Now, I would like to call upon our beloved head of the department, Dr. Shakti.
Very good morning to all the and the dynamic resource persons of this webinar, Dr. Balaji, IFS officer. The Department of Sociology in Queen Mary's College and Center for Social Initiative and Management are very happy to organize the webinar of contemporary importance. COVID-19 and its related lockdown brought unimaginable impact in our society. It changed our lifestyle entirely and forced us to adopt new way of life with the mask, sanitizer, and social distancing. Collective action and collective responsibility is the need of the hour. COVID-19 is not only a physical health problem, it is also a social problem. Therefore, the issue of COVID-19 should be approached through the lens of sociology. Sociological perspectives help for everyday social management of pandemic.
I would like to call upon Shagat Lakshmi from CSIM. She will be briefing about CSIM and its activities. Over to Lakshmi.
A warm welcome to all the participants, the guest speakers of the day, and the organizing committee members, Department of Sociology, Queen Mary's College. I'm Lakshmi Kalai, coordinator for CSIM, Center for Social Initiative and Management. CSIM was launched in 2001 in Chennai by late Mr. P.N. Devarajan and group of socially committed individuals. CSIM is a project of Manava Seva Dharma Samvartani Trust, MSDS. It has its centers in Chennai, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Mumbai, Coimbatore, and Chennai is our main center. We operate in Chennai. CSIM is a pioneer in offering social entrepreneurship training programs in India that ensures and enhances the quality of delivery in social change agents. CSIM pursues this mission by offering a wide range of training programs that advocates the principles and practices of social entrepreneurship. CSIM trains and mentors social enterprises and NGOs for enhancing sustainability. We have moved ahead and we are connected with colleges and students and offer customized courses at institutions like IIT Madras, IIM Mangalore, IIM Trichy, ISB Hyderabad, Loyola College, MOP Vaishnav College, Madras School of Social Work, Queen Mary's College, Stella Maris College, Shashun Jain College, Shri Kanyaka Parameshwari College, VIT Vellore, RGNIYD, Shri Perambuttur, and many other institutions. What we do at CSI, we mentor the NGO staff, representatives, and heads. We also train the corporates on corporate social responsibility. We conduct workshops on CSR, fundraising, impact assessment. We do our training customized based on the students and the participants. We at SAN India conduct impact assessments and social audit for NGOs, corporates, educational institutions, and we have been the first to do in India. The courses offered by CSIM are postgraduate diploma in social enterprise management, postgraduate diploma in social initiative and management, social entrepreneurship outlook program, social connect program with college students. We have been working with so many colleges, and I'm really privileged to say that we have completed our 5 years of postgraduate diploma course in Queen Mary's College. We are really privileged to work with Queen Mary's College Sociology Department. Uh, Dr. Shakti, HOD of Sociology Department, supports CSIM to do our programs there for the students. We meet students from different backgrounds, like uh, we have students from IIT, also from Queen Mary's, from Shashun Jain, and it is a learning experience even for us. We are really privileged to work with all the colleges and these institutions. I welcome Dr. Balaji S. Balaji IFS, former Principal Chief Conservator of Forests at Government of Tamil Nadu, for this session on COVID-19 pandemic and environmental challenges ahead. We welcome you, sir. I'm privileged to introduce our chief speaker, Dr. S. Balaji. In this session, we shall look forward to understand the impact of the pandemic, a better understanding about biodiversity, the environmental challenges ahead, and the experts' suggestions to meet these challenges. Once again, we welcome you, sir. Dr. S. Balaji, IFS, belongs to 1981 batch of Indian Forest Service, Tamil Nadu cadre. He has over 38 years of professional experience in forest and environmental management. He has worked as the Director, Department of Environment, and retired as the Principal Chief Conservator of Forests, Government of Tamil Nadu. Presently, he is an advisor to Care Earth Trust, a leading environmental NGO, and a consultant on forestry and environment. He is a regional forestry expert to FAO Rome and chairman ABS Committee of the National Biodiversity Authority, Government of India. He has done PhD in forestry on impact of joint forest management on biodiversity under the guidance of yes, sir. Under the guidance of Professor M.S. Swaminathan. He has launched a web-based Tamil Nadu state biodiversity profile for the first time in the country in 2003. He has traveled widely in across the globe and presented 125 technical papers on forestry and environment in the national and international workshops. As the advisor, Caro Trust, he is currently involved as a team leader in a consultancy project to enhance biodiversity in Greater Chennai Corporation and restoration of wetlands around Chennai. As the director of Tamil Nadu Forest Academy, he has organized capacity building programs in forestry and environment for IAS, IFS officers, forest officers, and for the officers of revenue and tribal welfare departments. I know we can very well browse and get all these details which I have shared. There are some qualities which were shared by Mr. Manimaran, an alumni of CSIM and an active environmentalist. He says, Balaji sir is a man of humanity and kindness. He is known for his simplicity. He is a very sincere, honest, dedicated, passionate, and unbiased officer. He also says that Mr. Manimaran had a very good experience while working with this IFS officer. He says that he is the best of all. Thank you, Mr. Manimaran, for sharing this message. These are the slogan of Dr. S. Balaji IFS. I would like to see India, which is economically vibrant, socially equitable, and environmentally sustainable. We have to think globally but act locally to make our earth clean and green. Now let's listen to the environmental expert. I kindly request our respected officer to take over this session. Once again, welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Lakshmi Madam, and
Thank you, sir.
I would like to thank Queen Mary's College Sociology Department for organizing this webinar, especially Madam Mary Banu. Today, we will be seeing about what is the impact on environment due to COVID-19 and what are the environment challenges we are going to face in the coming years or coming decades. Environment challenges were already there, but what COVID has impacted, whether it is beneficial or negative, these aspects we will be seeing. There is a short PowerPoint presentation, and I will be putting in the share screen now. Yeah. See, this year's World Environment Day theme is celebrating biodiversity. Biodiversity denotes the variety and variability of all living things on this earth. It includes species diversity, genetic diversity, and diversity among ecosystems, of which all the species are part. All of us are familiar with species. We know what is a mango tree, what is a coconut tree, what is an elephant, what is a tiger, but we cannot see genes. Genes make up these species. That is why species are quite different. So the species diversity is the diversity of what we see physically, like elephant, tiger, cow, buffalo, things like that. And genetic diversity is the makeup of this species. It is made of every cell has got a DNA, and that is called the genetic material. And each DNA is different. That's why all of us are quite different. And we are not like a photocopy. Then you have got ecosystems. So the ecosystems are also diverse. You have got a forest ecosystem, you have got a coastal ecosystem, you have got aquatic ecosystem, marine ecosystem, and mangrove ecosystem. Like this, every ecosystem supports different types of species. So all these three put together, the species diversity, then the genetic diversity, and also the ecosystem diversity, we call biodiversity. Lovejoy in 1980 coined the term biological diversity, and which was constricted into biodiversity, which we are all now familiar with. With the Earth Summit in 1992, the signing of the Convention of Biological Diversity by more than 196 countries, this biodiversity became much more popular all over the world. And why biodiversity should be conserved? See, this earth in which we inhabit, it consists of so many organisms, right from microorganisms to the flora and then fauna. All of them make an ecological web. So by conserving biodiversity, we are conserving ourselves. We are also leading to our human progress. In fact, human progress in the fields of medicine, agriculture, forestry, and fisheries will not be possible unless you understand biodiversity and conserve it and manage it on a sustainable basis. Biodiversity also boosts ecosystem functions. See, an ecosystem, everything is cyclic. All of you must have heard about carbon cycle, oxygen cycle, and how carbon moves around all the living things and non-living things. We release carbon dioxide, plants take that carbon dioxide and convert it into, through photosynthesis, food material. Again, that food material we take. So this way, the carbon goes in a cyclic form. Similarly, many water cycle is also there. You know how we get water. See, the rainwater comes and then it goes back to the sea through rivers and our ponds. So everything is cyclic, and for maintaining these cyclic ecological functions, it is important that we conserve the biodiversity in entirety. That is, not only species diversity, but the ecosystem diversity also should be protected. That is why it is important to protect our lakes, it is important to protect our rivers, and it is important to protect our coastal area, and it is important to protect our forests. So if we protect all these ecosystems, then their habitat, then the species which are there in this ecosystem will be able to survive well. India represents about 2.5% of the global land, but it possesses almost 7.5% of the recorded species in this world. And in order to protect, as I already pointed out, this Earth Summit was held in 1992, Convention of Biological Diversity came, then India as a formed this National Biodiversity Authority in Chennai, and National Biodiversity Act was formed, and there are sanctuaries and national parks. There are more than 700 protected areas now in India, and biosphere reserves. Chennai, the TamilNadu has got 3 biosphere reserves: Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve, we have got the Gulf of Mannar, Agastya Malai Biosphere Reserve. All these were formed to protect this biodiversity. Now we'll come to COVID. See, COVID-19 lockdown on environment, you must have seen in the newspapers that because people have not come out of their homes, many of the natural species, animals, wildlife, they were all able to freely move around. And air pollution and water pollution has come to minimum. And because of this, those organisms which are living, both your birds, butterflies, and similarly the marine organisms, the aquatic organisms, they were all thriving quite well. But what happened due to COVID? Till yesterday, COVID has affected all over the world about 67 million and leading to a death of 3.93 lakhs. In India alone, we have 2.30 lakh people are affected with 6,393 deaths reported. And in Tamil Nadu, 33,229 persons have been affected by COVID, and it has taken a toll of 289 in Tamil Nadu. So it is a pandemic. Pandemic means which is spread all over the world. Epidemic is in one country, pandemic is in all over the world. So because of this pandemic, which we have not experienced in our lifetime so far, and it has affected the life of everyone. It has affected the school children, it has affected college going girls like you, and it has affected all the daily wage earners who have been deprived of their livelihood. So it has got a serious impact on the life of our people, and it has changed to such an extent. We are all almost in a house arrest in the house, and because the government has said that we should remain safe at home, so that this pandemic will not affect a large number of people. A populous country like India, with 1.3 billion people, it is definitely needed that this kind of house arrest was a necessary evil. We cannot avoid this. But at the same time, what has happened to environment, if you see? Because we all kept quiet, we did not pollute the environment, we did not take our car or bike. So the environment has improved to some extent. Delhi has reported 20% of normal pollution, and it has marked decline in suspended particulate matter and nitrous oxide emissions. Water quality has improved everywhere, whether it is in Europe or in Ganga In Allahabad, the Ganga water has improved, and effect of wildlife, fish biomass has increased because now nobody was fishing, and there was no tourism. So all these rivers and canals are having more fish population, and animals were spotted moving about freely in cities and villages. And you must have seen elephants moving around, then spotted deer moving around. Similarly, sea turtles are spotted returning to lay their heads, and because the coastal area was clean, without sewage, without much of pollution, and without much disturbance from the human beings. See, all the problems in our environment has been caused by one single species, that is Homo sapiens. We are the human beings. So once we all put ourselves in a sort of house arrest, the environment becomes definitely cleaner. But this cannot happen forever, because we'll have to come out and do our normal work. And while doing normal work, what lessons this COVID-19 has given, we will see over the next few slides. I was telling you about Delhi. Delhi, all of you remember in January, Delhi was so much polluted that the flights were not able to land. And it is because of burning in nearby Haryana and UP agricultural fields. The whole Delhi was completely full of smoke. Similarly, Ganga in Haridwar, it became very fit for even drinking, and it became so clean. Dolphins were spotted in the Kolkata Ghats. These are Gangetic dolphins, and similarly, much polluted Mumbai. The flamingos started appearing in large scale in the Naveen Mumbai. Well, all this coming back to our conservation. This year, World Environment Day has been focused on environment, but conservation has been our tradition. Our religious tenets support the preservation of biodiversity through institutions like sacred groves. That is why every village, in fact in Kerala, one of my colleagues is working on the sacred groves in Kerala, and he was saying that almost every village has got a sacred grove there. And similarly, I have seen many sacred groves in our Javadi hills, which are preserved by the local people. They are not reserve forests, but they are sacred groves preserved by the community. Similarly, Bishnois laid down their lives to save the destruction of forest wealth. And they were the first environmental warriors, I would say, because the women, Bishnois, they hugged the tree. And that is how the later on Chipko movement came. Chipko means hugging the trees, so that not allowing the trees to be cut. Vande Mataram, our national song, also says how our forests are richly watered, richly fruited, cool with winds of the south, dark with the crops of harvest. And we have been celebrating not only in our Vande Mataram song, but our constitution has given authority for protecting environment, forest and wildlife. In fact, under the fundamental duties, every citizen is supposed to protect natural environment, including forests, lakes, rivers, wildlife, to have a compassion for living creatures. Similarly, the state has also the duty, and it shall endeavor to protect and improve the environment to safeguard the forests and wildlife of the country. This is under the directive principles of the state policy, Article 48A. Well, today we are celebrating the World Environment Day. What are the environmental concerns today, and what is the cause of these environmental concerns? The environmental concerns can be broadly classified like this. Population. See, many of the problems are due to increasing population. See, we are 1.3 billion, and we have got increasingly urbanized. 40% is urbanized in India now. So urban population, when it congregates in large number, it leads to pollution. Then this urbanization also is coupled with industrial expansion, and India is also the 10th largest industrial country in the world. All this, both urbanization and industrialization, it causes water pollution, air pollution, and deforestation is also taking place in, especially in the northeast. Still, deforestation has not been contained, and all this lead to loss of biodiversity. So we will see in this head, and in this slide itself, you can see the forest, the air pollution, the pollution due to transportation, and the conservation of the, and also the sea animals. Next. Urbanization and industrial expansion. India is the second largest country in the world in terms of population, as all of you know. And still we are growing at the rate of 1.8%. And it is one among the 10 most industrialized nations. There is rapid increase, mushrooming slums. As a sociology students, you must be studying about how urbanization, if it is not planned, it leads to more and more of slum development. And these slums without basic infrastructure is characteristic. In fact, 50% of Mumbai is in slums. And increasing industrialization without concern for environment can also cause serious damage. See, you can see here in this slide how the agricultural land and forest land has given to, due to urbanization, have become multi-storied buildings. And here, how spewing smoke from the thermal power plant is affecting the entire globe. In fact, 60% of our energy requirement comes from thermal power plants. So it is having serious consequences. All this pollution, the emission of more and more of carbon dioxide, methane, etc., what are known as greenhouse gases, they are leading to global warming. What is global warming? The earth has got a shield, and these infrared radiation generally they passes through the atmosphere. But what happens is here the infrared radiation is absorbed and re-emitted by these greenhouse gases. As a consequence, the earth becomes warm. The climate change is caused by world level various emissions. Main culprits are actually the United States has contributes 22%. The industrialized countries are the main culprits. United States contribute 22%, China 16%, and Europe about 10%, Russian Federation 6%, rest of the high income countries 13%, and India contributes 5%. But still, we cannot be complacent because India and China are the most fast growing countries today in the world. And these highly developing countries, the problem of emission also will increase in the years to come. Even though our per capita emission is far less, still India's 5% emission, already our Honorable Prime Minister has committed that we will reduce, we will through a voluntary reduction in the emission. What are the sources of these emissions? If you see, the energy, I was telling you about thermal power plants. 61% of the emission comes from our energy producing the thermal power plants. And agriculture contributes to 28%. Agriculture, because especially the paddy fields, they can also emit carbon dioxide. Industrial process, 8% and 2% is the waste. And mostly it is carbon dioxide which is produced, as I said, from the burning of the coal, burning of gas, oil, etc. As a consequence of climate change and global warming, there are our sea level is rising. You know that even in Arctic the snow is melting. So also in the Himalayas the snow is melting and leading to the sea level rise. Calcutta and Bangladesh, it will affect more than 60 million people because, as you know, even in the recent cyclone, you must have seen how Bangladesh has been seriously affected because Bangladesh is almost below the sea level. Some of the pockets of the Bangladesh are below sea level, and so it can affect seriously Bangladesh. And water conservation is very important. This is a small clipping on water conservation. This kind of water is elixir of life, and it supports all of us, and also all living things on this earth. Plants, animals, every organism wants water because our 60% of our protoplasm is made of water. But we are polluting this water because of the grossly insufficient protected drinking water is there. That is one. Second is sewage, main cause of the surface water pollution. Industries like tanneries and textile units, they pollute. Unsustainable abstraction for agriculture and drinking water also causes reduction in groundwater table and also salinization. What happens because of the water pollution? It leads to health hazards. Mosquitoes, they come in large scale, which can transmit so many diseases because of the water stagnation. There is an emission of foul odor and gas, and flooding, and loss of aesthetic environment. In fact, the carbon dioxide from in Chennai, the emission level of various industry, agriculture, wastewater, you can see the domestic sector, it contributes more of emission, and industry 20%, and waste and about 3.72%, electricity consumption, others, and transportation causes about 19.5%. 20% is caused by the transportation vehicles. The GHG emission has the highest in Delhi, 39 million tons of carbon dioxide equivalent, and Chennai has got 23 million tons of carbon dioxide equivalent. But in terms of per capita GHG emission, Chennai tops the entire list with 4.79 tons, and also emits highest carbon dioxide equivalent per GDP. See, 2.55 tons per a lakh of rupees of GDP. So Chennai has got higher per capita emission and also GDP emission. So we have to be careful in reducing the air pollution. The causes of emission, as I mentioned already, is the transport, household, industrial, dust pollution, etc. And vehicular contribution is, there are 37 lakh vehicles now in Chennai. And these vehicles, mostly it is two-wheelers, and they contribute substantially. The density of the motor vehicle is increasing year after year. And every year more than a lakh of vehicles are registered. And this is contributing to about 50.6% of the pollution load. Two-wheelers contribute 50% of the pollution load. And roughly about 400 tons of smoke is emitted every day. And that is why government have introduced the metro, and Chennai Metro has come into being. Electric vehicles are being introduced this year, and LPG auto is encouraged in Chennai. In future, hydrogen as a fuel and hybrid cars may be more popular. Plastic is another, plastic is ubiquitous now, and it is a very useful product, but at the same time, the throwaway plastics have created a havoc for the biodiversity. both on land as well as in the sea. And that is why our government have banned throwaway plastic, and we should ensure that this throwaway plastic is completely eliminated, and we start using cloth bags, cloth or recyclable bags, so that we don't cause much problem to the
प्लास्टिक के हम सब मोहताज हैं, कैसा ये समाज है, ना हो हाथों में आज है, मौका ये अपना गवाए टिक 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 कसम ये खाए रे, टिक 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 प्लास्टिक टिक ना पाए रे, टिक 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 कसम ये खाए रे, टिक 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 प्लास्टिक टिक ना पाए रे, सिचुएशन ड्रास्टिक है, जहाँ देखो ड्रास्टिक है, सिचुएशन ड्रास्टिक है, जहाँ देखो पहली बोतल स्ट्रॉन्ग इत्यादि सर्रे सर्रे में फैला, ना घट पाए ना मिट पाए, रह रह के टॉक्सिक बन जाए, इससे छुटकारा तो नहीं पर है एक सरल उपाय रे, सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक को हम कह दे बाय बाय रे, टिक 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 कसम ये खाए रे, टिक 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 प्लास्टिक टिक ना पाए, हम जो मिलकर ठान ले अगर वक्त ये बदल जाएगा, इस धरती के कांधे से बोझा हट जाएगा, Refuse, reuse, recycle. Plastic वाले सारे सारे पूछ के आओ खुल के मुस्कुराए रे, टिक 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 कसम ये खाए रे, टिक 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 प्लास्टिक टिक ना पाए रे, टिक 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 कसम ये खाए रे, टिक 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 प्लास्टिक टिक ना पाए रे, टिक 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 कसम ये खाए रे, टिक 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 प्लास्टिक टिक ना
Well, I think one thing which based on this small skit of on plastic we should follow is we should ensure that at domestic level plastic bottles and milk cover and all those plastic cartons, everything must be segregated and disposed of separately. In fact, you can collect them and then give it to recycler, like a newspaper wala who collects your old newspaper. So this will ensure that it goes to for recycling. Otherwise, you can hand over separately to the corporation people who collect garbage. So it should never be mixed with other organic garbage, and this I think all of you must ensure. I have been able to do it personally, and I think everyone should be able to do this, which is very easy. Only thing is we should consider that this is important. Let us come to the forests. Forests occupy the land surface. About 31% of the total land area of the globe is covered with forests, and it is home of 80% of terrestrial biodiversity. And they provide home to more than 300 million people and livelihoods for 1.6 billion people. So from sociological angle also, it provides livelihood for the poorest of the poor. So forests will have to be protected, and for protecting this livelihood. And this livelihood also must be enhanced by value addition, and so that they are not only ensured of livelihood, but they have a better livelihood in the coming days. Trade in timber and other forest produce is estimated about $330 billion a year. But in spite of advantages of the forests are getting degraded all over the world. You must have seen this January that Amazon forest burning, and the reckless government there also did not give enough attention for the burning Amazon forest. Amazon forests are so important that they hold 1/3 of the entire biodiversity of the globe, and they determine even the our rain all over the up to Europe is determined by what happens in the Amazon forest. People, but in spite of all this, global deforestation continues at alarming rate, 13 billion hectares every year, and many precious species are facing extinction. As far as India is concerned, we have got a forest area of about 70 million hectares now. Slowly our forests are increasing, forest cover, forest and tree cover is increasing, and we have got a dense forest of about 37 million hectares. There was a rapid deforestation in the past, but thanks to Forest Conservation Act that came in 1980, it helped in halting the deforestation level. And India's forest policy also focused on the environmental services provided by the forest. Ecological services provided by the forest was given more importance in the 1988 forest policy. And degraded forests. See, degraded forests were taken up for improvement and are joint forest management all over the country. In fact, TamilNadu, the Tamil Nadu Deforestation project, it took almost 7 lakh hectares of the forests which were degraded and improved these forests for in a better condition over a period of 15 years. I also served as the project director of the TAP for some time, and it has really reached the unreached people, that is people who are living in remote villages of Tamil Nadu. An example of how a forest has improved under Tamil Nadu Deforestation project, you can see this is a Tirunelveli TN Pudukudi village, where the forests which were degraded like this, it was regenerated like this, and a lot of natural regeneration of teak has taken place in this forest. India has got a rich biodiversity, more than 45,000 species of plants and 91,000 species of animals, and agrobiodiversity about 9,500 species. And Tamil Nadu has got about 1/3 of the flora of India. India has got 15,000, 45,000 of which 15,000 is the angiosperms. And of the 15,000 angiosperms, we have got more than 5,000 in Tamil Nadu. And we have got insects dominate. In fact, in the entire fauna all over the globe, insects are the dominant species. In Tamil Nadu also, we have got 3,000 species. We have got freshwater animals, terrestrial animals, and marine animals. And this is a tropical wet evergreen forest of Muthukuri Vayal in Kalakkad Mundandurai Tiger Reserve in Tirunelveli district. Forest also is a harbinger of medicinal plants. And we have our ancient siddhas have used these medicinal plants, and even now the Kabasura Kudinir, which is being supplied by the government, and is from various herbs which are available in our forests. And this is Eagle marmelos, Indigofera, Ossimum, Tulasi, Coleus, Karpuravalli, and Thinospora cardifolia, Shindalkudi, and Cassia. All of them are highly. This is only a small drop in the ocean of. We have got so many 1,500 species of medicinal plants which are useful in various ways. So forests will have to be protected, and degradation has to be stopped for protecting these medicinal plants, which will have to be given to the next generation. so that the benefits of these plants also reach to the succeeding generations. So it is very important to protect forests for the medicinal plants. Forests are also protected for the various wildlife. And these are the wildlife protected areas, sanctuaries and national parks. I told you earlier that there are 700 protected areas all over the country. And in Tamil Nadu, we have got 15 sanctuaries, 5 national parks, 15 bird sanctuaries all over the state. And this shows the various location of one of the oldest is the Mudumalai Wildlife Sanctuary. Similarly, Vedantangal Bird Sanctuary near Chennai is one of the oldest bird sanctuary. Mangroves. Mangroves are this mangrove forests. They grow actually in the delta area where the river meets the sea, and it requires both fresh water as well as saline water for its growth. So these mangrove forests are found in Pichavaram and Muthupet in Tamil Nadu, and we have got Sundarbans has got the largest mangrove forest, and it is spread over both West Bengal as well as Bangladesh. And these mangrove forests are very important for protecting the coast from tsunami and other kind of seasonal hurricanes. Tiger. Tiger is the apex carnivore. It is in the top of the top carnivore, and the health of tiger indicates the health of that ecosystem. That is why Project Tiger was established in 1973, and now we have got 50 Project Tiger reserves all over the country. And Tamil Nadu has got 4 Project Tiger reserves. We have got in Mudumalai, Anamalai, Kalakkadu Mundandurai Tiger Reserve, and also Satyamangalam Tiger Reserve. And the tiger population also has been increasing, and it is a good sign that, as I told you already, if the population of tiger is increasing, it indicates it has got a good prey base and the forests are in better shape. This is a tiger which I spotted in Mudumalai way back in 2012. Birds. Birds are one of the avifauna, or one of the beautiful creatures of the God. And birds, nobody can say that I don't love birds, because birds are so pretty, and each bird has got each bird is a beauty, and it has got a good and musical call. And these are the birds which you can see near Chennai, like magpie robin, blacktail, kukal, purple sunbird. This purple sunbird comes to all your coconut trees, and weaver bird. I will show you another video on this weaver bird. How nice, how good weaver it is. It is better weaver than us. And kingfisher and quail, which gives you a nice music in the morning, musical call in the morning. And jungle crow, house crow. This andangaka or jungle crow also you must be familiar. Kaka is one, this house crow is one all of you must be familiar with. And house sparrow. House sparrows are disappearing because of the high-rise buildings. Still, they are available in Chennai in those places where there are tiled houses. And in fact, you can increase the population of the sparrow by providing water and small shelter in other places as well, in parks, etc. But this really shows how when a habitat changes, a species can disappear. Chennai was having tiled houses in the past, and it was having independent houses. Then about 50 years back, 40-50 years back, the multi-storied buildings started coming. And now you have got more of multi-storied building. Then the population of house sparrows have declined. This is how the habitat and a species is always related. This is a river tern and black drongo. This is also very common in Chennai, and it is known as Karichan, they will say, and it will have a long tail. And there is a rocket drongo also is there, which will have longer than this. Okay, next. So what I would suggest all of you is take interest in these ornithology, bird watching, and then once you start taking interest in this, you will see in your own environment, just in your backyard, you have got several species which you have not noticed so far. And this is what recently, due to COVID, see, one of my friends said he was able to spot 24 different species of birds in one tree in the early morning. So that kind of once you have developed interest, you will have an eye for it. This is the Baya weaver bird I was telling you. You see how nicely it weaves. அடுத்தது well, we have seen that Baya bird how nicely it weaves, and how much hard labor it puts for 18 days and 500 trips to make one nest. And Green India mission is to save these forests and to the climate change, to deal with the climate change. There are 8 missions of Government of India, one of which is Green India mission. The Green India mission looks at increasing the forest and tree cover by 5 million hectares and improve the quality of forest cover in 5 million hectares. Improved ecosystem services including biodiversity, hydrological services and carbon sequestration. Increased forest-based livelihood. I think for sociology students, it may be of interest that increased forest-based livelihood income for 3 million households living in and around forests is also proposed. Level, we have seen now so far what are the issues and how it can be tackled. What strategy should we adopt? We will see in the next 10 minutes what future strategies we can have for dealing with this environmental concerns which we listed earlier. We have to minimize this future strategies will have number of players. One is government. Government brings out the policies. Then industries which will have to follow the norms. And then thirdly, individuals. So we will see the carbon dioxide emission from thermal power plant. We have to change the policy now it's reoriented. Instead of depending more and more on thermal power plants, we are going for more solar now. And TamilNadu is leading in wind power. And we have got about 8,000 megawatt of wind power installed capacity. But wind power comes only seasonally, only for a particular season. We have to capitalize on that. But solar power, we have got plenty of sunlight. So solar power is the one which we should capitalize. The problem for solar power was earlier the high cost of solar cells, and now the cost of that is coming down. Over a period of time, this the solar cell will come down so that it will become more competitive. Otherwise, the initial investment in solar power plant was more expensive. That is why people were a bit reluctant earlier. Now there are a lot of incentives given by the government, so it is possible. And we have got a target by 2022. We should produce some 20,000 megawatt of power through solar. And then we have to, at the same time, we cannot wish away completely thermal power plants, because now we get our power supply 60% from thermal power plant. But these thermal power plants can be improved so that they don't emit so much of carbon dioxide. So that is possible by coal washing, fluidized bed combustion technology, and use of supercritical boilers and coal gasification. So these kind of technological improvement can minimize carbon dioxide emission. Secondly, as I said, the new and renewable energy options, solar and wind. In fact, a coal-powered thermal power plant produces twice the emission of gas, 6 times of solar, and 40 times of wind, and 200 times of the hydro energy. So that kind of hydro energy is 200 times cheaper in terms of emission compared to a solar. Compared to a coal-powered thermal power plants. So minimize carbon dioxide emission in the next after the power plants. It is the cement industries contribute 5% of the carbon dioxide emission. So cement plants also, they should minimize carbon dioxide emission and also use the fly ash. See, the fly ash which is generated by the thermal power plants can be used in producing porcelana cement in the cement industries. And so this can be used in productively. One waste can be used in another plant so that we don't have the fly ash issue. Otherwise, fly ash generally pollutes the coastal area, like our Tuticorin or even our Chennai thermal power plant. If you see, up to 5 kilometers in the sea, you will see fly ash. So transport sector is another area which contributes 25%. And there, the minimizing vehicular emission, use of hybrid technology, CNG, LPG, biodiesel, e-vehicle, electric vehicles are now coming, and hydrogen as an alternate fuel we can think of. And ozone depleting substances. Now the refrigerator and our they have completely switched over to non-ODS technology, ozone depleting substances. Earlier, this was also causing a problem to the global warming. Conserving forests and seaweeds as a carbon sink. So we have to protect our existing forests, create new tree cover, and also protect our seaweeds. And make lifestyle changes, and tree planting at local level is very important. Every sector has to mainstream the environmental concerns, agriculture. They should go for organic agriculture, agroforestry, greening of wastelands, conservation of river, lakes and tanks and temple tanks, solid waste management strategy, which I mentioned earlier, that is segregation, composting, and also reuse of plastic, etc. Promoting public transport, metro, rail, cycle in cities, solar power, wind power instead of thermal power plant, sustainable development, renewable energy, public transport, recycling of waste, sustainable tourism will create more jobs per million US dollars invested, according to Indian Institute of Science Professor Ravindranath. So this will promote a job-led growth. We need, after COVID, more employment for people. And we need a growth which is job-led growth. It should create more and more employment, because many people have become jobless now, because of the lockdown. And because of the migrant labor will also come back maybe after two or 3 months. And the local people will have to be provided jobs, and migrant labor also, who are specialists in their own areas, will have to be engaged. And that kind of a job-led growth is the one which we need after the post-COVID development. We should reduce land degradation, reduce biodiversity loss, reduce impact on climate change. Green development should be with equity. And what individually each one of us can do. Each one of us can make a commitment to reduce our carbon footprint. What is carbon footprint? See, whatever we use in every choice, from morning to night, you are contributing to carbon emission. And your building, what kind of building we are living, whether our fittings, our equipment, our dresses, everything has got a carbon footprint. We should choose low carbon footprint, those which emit less. We should contribute. See, dyeing industry also is contributing. So similarly, bleaching industry is also contributing. So every industry is contributing. So we can see that our choices are made in such a way that we reduce our emission. Similarly, each one of us can have a solar water heater. This has been made mandatory in Bangalore for getting permission for the house construction. Similarly, I think Chennai CMD has also made it mandatory. But we should have a mind change to make solar water heater as a part of our life. See, a solar water heater is one thing which you can, within 3 years, you can take away the investment made, because by that will reduce your electricity bill to that extent. So definitely solar water heater is the one we can make a change instead of regular heater. Get energy efficient, switch over to LED bulbs. Those who are having still old type of bulbs, switch over to LED bulbs because it will consume less energy. So to that extent, you will be contributing to less emission. Video conferencing. So today what we are doing itself is an example. The conference, the video conferencing is possible it is 1/10 of the cost of regular conference. And COVID-19 has proved it is possible, like this webinar which we are undertaking now. Public participation is important. Without social involvement, nothing can succeed, no policy can succeed. So public participation is important, creating environmental awareness. That is why from first standard onwards, in every class, environment has been made as a subject now, thanks to Supreme Court recommendation. Government of India HRD has recommended that environment should be a subject in all classes. That is why I find the current generation of young boys and girls are more aware of environment, more aware about environment than our generation. Team up with a like-minded organization. See, the organizations which are also working in the same thing, if you work in tandem, then you can definitely make a better. Reduce, reuse, recover, and recycle must be the mantra. Reduce your consumption. All our ills are due to overconsumption. We should not copy USA and then consume more. We should reduce our consumption, reuse wherever it is possible, and recover and recycle so that the resources are utilized optimally so that no waste is generated or minimal waste is generated. So to that extent, we should green our mind. Before greening the land, we should green our mind. After greening the mind, we should green our immediate environment. This is a greening strategy. In fact, our Care Trust gave recently a recommendation of how to green Chennai with 1 million trees in the next 5 years, using indigenous species, indigenous trees of 90 different varieties. So this is a protective existing trees in your inhabitation, near your house, near your college must be protected. Increase the green cover by planting, maintain the tree health, and promote balance and resilience in species composition. You choose the right kind of species. Don't choose a big tree in a small road. Small tree for a small road must be. And promote sustainable water management. A tree has to be planted and protected so that it will be able to grow and become a tree within 2 years. So it is like rearing a child. So promote responsible community engagement. So that is why I said without participation of community, it is not possible to succeed. So with this, I will conclude. I will conclude with this. So with this, we will let us protect the environment and also the biodiversity on this World Environment Day. Let us resolve whatever we can do by planting indigenous trees in our environment, in our household, and also ensure that whatever we use every day is beneficial to the environment, and let us minimize harm to environment caused by each one of us. And because this is our environment, and this biodiversity has to be protected by each one of us. So thank you for organizing this webinar and sharing. I was able to share some of my thoughts on this day. And I congratulate the Queen Mary's College for organizing this, especially Madam Kalabati and Madam Mary and Lakshmi, who have organized this very nicely. And I hope if there are any questions, I welcome.
Sure. Thank you, sir. Dear participants, if you have any questions, kindly post it in the chat box. Sir, I have a few questions for you. Can I ask you?
Sure, sure. Yeah.
1 minute, sir. Bhumika DSW, she has asked one question. Can you please tell us about medical waste management to protect our environment? How are we going to manage the disposable mask and gloves?
Well, see, for managing the medical waste, there are separate set of rules under the Environmental Protection Act. See, some of these things, there are the various methods of disposal. One is incineration. Incineration of some of the medical waste. Deep burial is another kind of disposal. It depends upon what kind of, see, medically, there can be highly infectious surgical items may be there, and some of the items may not be. So chemically also you can disinfect them. So it is possible to disinfect them chemically. It is also possible to incinerate some of them, and also thirdly, it is deep burial is the third option.
Thank you, sir. One more question from Hemalata. Sir, there is an opinion that even solar energy cannot be claimed as totally clean energy. Can you give your opinion?
Why solar energy is the clean energy? Why not? Why not? It is not a clean energy.
I don't know why she has got this doubt. Hemalata has got this doubt.
No, you let me know why it is not a clean energy.
We always think that solar energy is the best energy.
See, because after all, on this earth, every energy comes from only sunlight, including what we eat, our plants. See, plants do photosynthesis, and that photosynthate we eat as fruits and grains. And every energy, and that only gives energy to us. So whatever energy we have, not only us, all living things, is all basically comes from solar energy. So solar energy cannot be polluting. See, solar energy has got ultraviolet radiations and infrared radiations are there. But producing electricity from sunlight is not going to cause any problem.
Thank you, sir. One more question from Venkatesh Keshav. What will be the impact on the environment, as recently the central government has granted permission for mining in several forest regions?
See, in fact, mining is disastrous for forest conservation. See, generally, mining should not be allowed in forest areas. That is my opinion.
One more from Esmat B. Said Qasim. Sir, still now, there are so many people who can't buy masks and gloves. How are we going to save them?
See, mask and gloves are need not be purchased. Even your kerchief will do as a mask, or any cloth can be do, and this cloth can be washed and reused. You need not buy mask always. And
Okay,
gloves, and gloves, of course. See, your surgical gloves is needed only if you are going to a hospital or some other place. For a normal office or your college, I don't think you need a gloves. What you need is a mask, because mostly this spreads through the COVID virus, spreads through only sneezing and things like that. So it doesn't move through inanimate objects like paper or anything. So you should not come in contact directly with another person when he sneezes.
one question from Dr. Shakti. Using mask, will it create pollution or environmental issues? I think disposing mask. Using, yeah.
Pardon?
Using mask,
Will
it create pollution or environmental issues?
I told you already. I told you already that you need not buy mask always. You can use any clean cloth as your protecting device. So you have to close your mouth and your nose. That's all.
That's all. Okay.
Your dupatta also will do. Don't it?
Yes, sir. I think we have one more question from Anthony Sebastiraj. COVID-19 has modified our lifestyle both positively and negatively. After the end of this pandemic situation, what do we need to follow in order to safeguard our environment?
That's a good question. See, we are quite happy that environment is better, water quality has become better, air quality has become better, but everything will come back to square one once the normalcy comes. That is, people start moving around normally. And see, this is where I think we should be careful. See, now we have got some benchmarks now. See, our Kuam River, for instance, you take Kuam River, how clean it is. So Kuam River clean, at least can we maintain Kuam at that level without polluting? And now also we know who are all the agencies which are polluting now. See, the point source, in pollution we always call as a point source and non-point source. So point source pollution, if it is identified and addressed by the agencies like our Metro Water or Pollution Control Board, then definitely it can, it will remain at this level. But non-point source, people throwing a paper, waste paper, or throwing a plastic bag, and these are all non-point source pollution at all over the. So this can be checked only if you have an attitudinal change. See, if you have an attitude that this Kuam also is our own river, this Adayar is our own river, and we should not pollute it. Will you do that same in your house? Will you throw your garbage in the your drawing room? You will not. The same way, if you think that this Kuam and Adayar are also like our drawing rooms, if you have that attitudinal change, definitely you will not pollute it.
So one more question from Anthony Sebastiraj. Do forest policies in India affect tribals who mainly depend upon forests for their livelihood? Restrictions to enter forest, limitations to collect minor forest products. What is your idea on this?
See, the forest policy always considers the tribals as a friends of the forest only, because they are all the immediate beneficiaries of the forest, both materially and also the way in which they live in that kind of a good environment. They are the immediate beneficiaries. So our policy has been always that the first charge on the forest is only the inhabitants who are living close to the forest. Then only the national interest comes, then the global interest comes. And Forest Rights Act, which was implemented by the government, always gives the right to the 13 different types of right to the tribals, and it is being implemented all over the country. So still in some pockets the tribals may have some pinpricks with the forest department. I don't deny that, but that has to be sorted out. But as a policy, our forest policy as well as the tribal welfare policy, they are intertwined. Unless the tribals are taken care of, the forest cannot flourish.
Thank you so much, sir. I think we can wind up with the question answer session. Thank you so much, sir. Your presentation was just mind-blowing. I was awestruck by your presentation because your audio and video clippings, everything. Video clipping was so very interesting to watch. And we all thoroughly enjoyed. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. And once again, congratulate Queen Mary's College for organizing this webinar, and personally you and all your colleagues to have organized this. I hope this environment awareness translates into action. See, because no learning is useful unless it translates into at least one action or two action. Say like segregating the garbage, that is segregating plastic from the garbage, and also using energy efficient devices in your own house. Even water. See, there are water conserving devices which can be attached to tap. There is one Eco 360. It is an attachment to the tap. Then you will reduce the water consumption by 1/4. See, if you are using 100 liters of water, you will need only 25 liters of water. So like this, adapt at least one or two in each of your everyday action. This will lead to better environment in the long run. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. I would like to call upon Dr. Martin Selvaraj to propose vote of thanks now.
Good afternoon, everyone. I take this opportunity to propose vote of thanks. Special occasion. At the outset, I would like to express my sincere gratitude, Dr. Varalakshmi Anandakumar, Principal in charge, Queen Mary's College, for her moral support and guidance to conduct this webinar. On behalf of the Department of Sociology, I extend a hearty vote of thanks to the Center for Social Initiative and Management, Honorary Director and Trustee, Mrs. Radha Suresh, and Director, Mrs. Mari Banu, and other team members for their influencing support and coordination. I would like to thank today's resource person, Dr. S. BALAJI, IFS, former Principal, Chief Conservator of Forest at the Government of Tamil Nadu, for his excellent presentation and making this webinar interesting and meaningful. On behalf of the Department of Sociology and CSIM, I congratulate him. I am very grateful to Mr. John, CSIM, for his technical support to this webinar. I must mention our deep sense of appreciation for Mrs. Lakshmi Kalai for her constant support to our sociology department. I am happy to express my thanks to our faculty members who have made this webinar success. Last but not the least, I thank the participants for their active participation and kind cooperation in this event. Thank you one and all. Over to Sakina.
Thank you so much for all the participants and Center for Social Research and Initiative Management, Radha Suresh Madam, Maria Banu, and Lakshmi. Without Lakshmi and Radha Suresh Madam, this seminar or webinar is not at all possible for the Department of Sociology, Queen Mary's College. We got all the support from them, and we are very happy to organize this seminar. And I'm very thankful to the resource person, Balaji sir. Then I'm very thankful to all the participants, and also I'm very grateful to Varalakshmi Madam, the principal of Queen Mary's College, because he always encouraging me and supporting me to conduct this type of activities. Thank you, Madam. Thank you, all the participants.